Warning: the following content may contain spoilers for film and television programs. It is also intended for mature audiences. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Dropped your toe?
Oh, no, it was my kneecap.
Awesome. I heard that all the way over here.
Yeah. I got old man knees, so if I, walk, they're just like, fuck you. Crack, 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 crack. It's not good.
Well, joints happen.
Yeah. But, ahoy, all of you flick freaks out there. What is going on? My name is Andrew.
And I'm Roper.
Today, we're going to be doing episode 94 of the Flick Freak Podcast, your number one stop for all things film, television, news, facts, and opinions. Sort of. We kind of changed up the branding of the podcast since we have Sif Pop over here now for all of our actual movie reviews and stuff. Actually, I should say there is no Sif Pop this week. But next week we're going to be talking a little bit about Arrival on that one. But today I'm going to start off by talking about Arrival because it's now my number one movie of the year. And it's made it into my top 100 movies of all time.
I was about to say, between the rating of a 9.6 out of 10 by you and 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Is it really on Rotten Tomatoes 100%?
Yes, it is.
Hot diggity damn. Let's take a look at that real quick.
Yeah, that's. I saw that last night. I was watching some TV, and I happened to have saw that listing at 100%, and I now have to go see this movie. 93%
as of right now.
They had it advertised on TV last night at 100%.
Probably was whenever, before it hit theaters. But yeah, it's my number one movie of the year. It's so freaking good. It's easily my favorite movie that deals with aliens.
Yeah.
Ever. So that should say something right there. Besides, Star Wars,
Right.
Because it's fucking Star Wars. But, yeah. Holy shit, the script is unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's so smart. It reminds me a lot of this audio theatrical podcast I used to listen to called The Message. Did you ever listen to that one?
No, I did not.
So the basic premise of The Message, not Arrival, they're so similar. In The Message, aliens send a message to Earth, but it's in their language, and it's up for a group of cryptographers and linguists to decipher it to find out what the message actually says. And the problem is, if you listen to the message, it might kill you. So they're like, well, we want to figure out what the aliens are saying, but there's a chance that it could kill you. And it's a really fascinating podcast, and season 2 is about to start in a couple days, actually. So
interesting.
I'm definitely going to be listening to that. But in Arrival, instead of sending a message down to Earth, the aliens just come to Earth. But obviously the same premise is here, where you can't understand what the aliens are saying. You have to decipher what their language is, what their written language is, their vocal language, and try and break it down to try and communicate with them to find out, are they here for good or evil? And there's 12 ships that land in random-ass places around the world. Because, normally it's there's one in Hong Kong, one in New York. No.
In Johannesburg.
In Johannesburg. This one, there's one that just lands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, where barely anybody could get to it. The one in the U.S. lands in Montana.
Rock on.
Just random-ass places. And so they hire Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner is a theoretical physicist, I think. And Amy Adams plays a language specialist. So them working together with Forrest Whitaker, who is the corporal, he's the army guy of the movie, and they have to try and figure out what the aliens are here for. And the ships...
turns out Forrest Whitaker is one of them.
Yeah, might as well be. But the aliens in this movie look fucking cool.
You see them, head to toe?
Yeah.
Or whatever?
Yeah.
Stem to stern?
The way it works is the ship is hovering 20 feet off of the ground. Every 18 hours, a door in the bottom opens up, and then you go into the ship, and they're behind this glass wall that they've projected. So you never touch them. You're hidden like behind this sort of glass wall. You can see through it, but you just can't go in there, like a force shield / glass wall. And they'll say things, and then you have to try it. And then Amy Adams and Jeremy are like, did they ever make that sound before? And then they like bring a chalkboard up and they like write human on it. Or I think her name was Louise. So she'll write Louise. And then Ian was Jeremy Renner's name. So then she'll point to him, Ian. And then she'll go human like that to like encompass everything to try and have them understand us. And then so we can get a basic of what we can do for them. And the whole time, the army, every single army on the planet is like on standby, you know.
Of course.
But then you have countries like China and Russia who are like, fuck it, let's just blow them up. We got nukes, let's just blow them up before they blow. It's like, what's that called? Whenever shoot them before they shoot you. That's
preemptive strike.
Preemptive striking. So that's pretty much what the clock is running against, is a stupid country making a stupid mistake.
Well, you know, I think that there's something to be said for that, Toe, because, you know, you're looking at it going, you don't know what they're here for. You don't know why they're here.
Mm-hmm. But Amy Adams' thinking is they've been here for a long time while we've been trying to decipher their language.
And they're not doing anything.
They're not doing anything but talking to us. So,
well, you know, human beings are very impulseful creatures.
There is a crazy twist in this movie. One of the best twists I've ever seen. This is a movie I could see myself going to see in theaters like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah?
Yeah. The score is phenomenal. It's directed by Denis Villeneuve. He did Prisoners. Did you ever see that movie with Hugh Jackman?
Yes.
Yeah. I showed that to Jareth the other night for the first time because we were talking about it after we left the theater. I was like, man, that's 2 movies of his now that are in my top 100 movies of all time. And he goes, what was the other one? I said, Prisoners. I've never seen it. So he came over here and he watched it, and he was standing up the whole movie like, I can't take this. This is crazy. I've never seen anybody react like as crazy as Jareth was.
Well, it's Jareth.
Yeah. But he's normally very tame when it comes to movies,
True.
I thought.
True.
So whenever he was like standing like, I can't take this. This is crazy. I was like, man, he is really into this movie. So for me, Arrival is, as of right now, my number 1 movie of the year. It is in my top 100 movies of all time. Denis Villeneuve is my favorite up-and-coming director. I see him doing many, many great things in the future. Check it out!
I need to. I really need to. I actually had thought to myself that I'd go see it today, but I don't know if that'll be a thing or not.
Yeah.
I need to figure out what's on the agenda for the rest of the afternoon.
I hear you. Life.
Yeah, adult stuff.
Yeah. So, on your spoiler cast, you normally, after a major movie comes out, you talk about it.
Yep.
And unfortunately, things didn't work out for you and Spoilercast for Doctor Strange.
They had the airing of Doctor Strange on the 3rd.
Yeah, which you, me, and Sean from Geek.0 went to go and see together.
Yep. Wonderful showing. Wonderful.
It was just a wonderful day.
Yeah, it was a great afternoon.
If it didn't happen to take place in Branson, it would have been a phenomenal day. But
the whole place smells like being gay.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Well, we got down there, we saw the movie, but then Sunday was supposed to have been when we were going to have our showing for it.
Yeah.
And we were going to talk about it on Spoilercast, but that fell through. One of the guys that we have over there, which Dire Monkey is who I'm talking about for those of you who know.
Spellbook Studios.
Yeah, over at Spellbook. That's
good guy, salt of the earth.
Yeah, he is. Great person. He it's like your favorite thing to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
which I have to admit, I stole that from somebody else, as everybody steals sayings from somebody.
I think it came from somewhere. Yeah.
I got mine from Jeff Ramsey from Rooster Teeth. But
yeah,
go
there
on.
you go. So anyhow, he had a family emergency, and we don't make anything, money wise doing any of this. It's just us getting together and having fun and all that good stuff, and expressing our opinions for whoever wants to listen to them, and some people do, which I'm thoroughly pleased with, because I enjoy putting out what I have to say and things of that nature, and knowing that some people believe the same thing I do, and try to have a good time with it. But whenever it comes to like family or work or things of that nature, if they stand in the way, those clearly come first.
Always take priority.
And unfortunately, since outside of the studio, I have very limited equipment and things of that nature. I have little means of putting up. I'm coming underway.
Yeah.
Andrew's helping with that. I'm coming underway, and hopefully I'm going to be able to increase my presence and things of that nature.
Progress is being made.
Yes. Yeah. So that's always a plus. But for now, I haven't had. This is actually the first chance I've had to kind of apologize to everybody and say, hey, this is why we're missing an episode right now. But it will be coming because things are always getting better. People get better and well and things of that nature. But he had a family emergency and we weren't able to get in to record. But that is the last in-theater big-ass movie that I went and saw, which was Doctor Strange, and it was wonderful. Like, I freaking loved that. The beginning of the movie, when I first put the glasses on, the 3D glasses, I was feeling a little queasy.
Yeah.
And then it kind of leveled out. And then at the end of the movie, the whole car ride back, I was like, okay, yeah, my brain feels like I've been in a microwave.
So not only did you see the movie or in 3D or in IMAX or 3D IMAX, we saw it in a laser 3D IMAX theater. There's only 4 of them in the United States, I think.
Yup. This is the big
one. So, holy shit, that just added to the spectacle and, the grandness of Doctor Strange.
What I thought was pretty fantastic was there's one of the scene where they're fighting and then the hallway starts going upright and then he drops himself. When he fell,
don't get into too many spoilers.
Well, I'm not.
Wrong podcast for that.
Right, I know. All I'm saying is that I'm marveling on the size of the screen.
Sure.
Whenever he dropped, because I'm fairly certain this happens in the trailer.
Yeah.
He lets himself free and he falls for a short distance. In this screen, it's not a short distance. You actually have to turn your head to watch him fall from one side of the screen to the other. It's so freaking big.
But for me, and maybe you can say something onto this, for me, this Doctor Strange was the most visually impressive Marvel movie ever made.
Oh, I agree.
Okay. Not the best Marvel movie ever made.
No, and but
visually,
I'm still rating it. I think Guardians is going to be a hard one to knock down for me.
Is that your number one?
I'm pretty certain that's my number one.
Okay.
Now that prior to this one, I believe that was the most visually satisfying Marvel movie to date. Mm-hmm. And then Doctor Strange came out, and it's like, pick a Marvel movie and then add Inception. And that's
and a kaleidoscope.
And that's pretty much what happened with it. Great movie, wonderful premise. The thing though is that it's the same story we've been told over and over again.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, path to self-discovery to becoming who you are now and rising above your egocentric way of life and, putting things before, as they were before, kind of in a box and, realizing that there's a bigger purpose for yourself out there. Stephen Strange in a lot of ways is a lot like Tony Stark as far as his personality goes. And, it's kind of the same song and dance that we've seen by Marvel before, but it's a good story and they're not letting it go and they tell it very well. It's not exactly the same by any means, but there's a lot of things that overlap that are very similar, and I think it's beautifully done. I'm one for motivations. That's kind of one of my things. That's why I take issue with certain movies because I can't get behind why it is people are doing what they do, and the bad guy that's portrayed in this movie, I still can't quite get my mind around his motivations and things of that nature. And I'm not going to get into the specifics of all of that. But, if you've seen the film, I hope you kind of agree with that because it's kind of a challenge to figure out why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, in my humble opinion.
But we do have 2 movies now that we highly recommend everybody goes and see.
Oh, absolutely. And if you haven't already, then you clearly are living under a rock.
Yeah. So the big news of this week, and I hesitate to even discuss it, but it's something that people keep asking about. Presidential election.
Mm-hmm.
That happened.
Yeah, it did.
I'm not going to say who I voted for.
4 days ago?
Yeah, I'm not going to say who I voted for other than that. I still haven't got my blowjob from Madonna, and that really pisses me off. So
I didn't get the opportunity. I overslept so much that day that
I slept until 7 p.m.
I slept so much that's the problem. I woke up at almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and my kids were supposed to be coming over. I get to see them, and because they live with their mother and all that good stuff. And by the time I had woke up, I had checked my phone, and I had several missed text messages and things of that nature. And apparently, I had overslept to the point that she was like, "Well, I was here, but now I'm gonna take them home," which is kind of understandable. I wasn't upset about that. I'm more upset about myself not getting my ass out of bed, because the problem is I work constantly outside
you work
of
like
this.
80 plus hours a week.
Sometimes more than that. Actually, this last weekend was more than that. But anyhow, I overslept. So by the time that I realized that I overslept and woke up and dressed and things of that nature, I still couldn't go anywhere because my truck had issues. And so fortunately, my mother swung by and drove me out there to see them. And I was fortunate enough that I was given the opportunity to be able to see them for a little bit. But by the time I was done and home, it was...
The polls had closed.
Everything was done, and I was supposed to be going into shift that night. And so I was back at work again, and wasn't a whole lot I could do about it.
Yeah. So, wanted to mention it. Yes, we have now officially discussed the presidential election. We can now move on to other topics. So.
We did that.
Ugh, gosh. Can't believe. Can't believe that not that it happened. I'm glad that, we live in a country where you can vote. What I am pissed off is just people's reactions afterwards, regardless of who won. I knew it was going to be a shitstorm,
Yeah.
And America didn't disappoint on that front. So.
Well, yeah, like I was saying a moment ago, there are a lot of people that share my opinion on a lot of things, and then there are a lot of people that don't share my opinion on a lot of things. And whether you do or don't is kind of missing the point. The point is you're allowed to have your opinion.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So the specifics of who stands by who and all that good business is kind of how that's supposed to work.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, I guess.
There you go. So I started watching this new television show we're getting off the election now.
Yay.
When I say new television show, I mean it's a couple seasons in. It's a reality show that I like.
Dancing with the Stars?
Yes, that's the one. It's on History Channel. It's called Alone.
Ah,
have you seen it?
No.
So imagine Survivor, but good.
Okay.
So instead of dropping off a group of people and saying you have to survive for 30 days, they drop off individuals. It's on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, so really wet, really cold.
Yeah, buddy.
So they drop you off as an individual. You're not part of a group. There's 10 of you scattered like 10 miles apart all over Vancouver Island. And they just say, you have 10 survival items that you've chosen. Survive. The last one to quit wins $500,000. And they're like, well, for how long? And they're like, well, it depends on how long. You can go for years if you think you can survive out here long enough. How bad do you want that $500,000? And it's pretty great because every single person... It's not like, I'm a bartender, I can't wait to do this, or I'm a defense attorney, and this is... No, every single person is a survival expert. They know how to build houses out of, like, dead tree limbs, and they know how to build boats, they know how to go fishing and stuff, so... These people can last a long time.
That's like my uncle's one of those type of people.
Survivalists?
Oh, yeah. Well, not in his everyday life, but... I'm convinced, based off of how I've seen him as I've grown up, that you could literally just kick his ass out of an airplane over the middle of the woods with nothing more than a pocket knife and what clothes he has on his back. And you come back later on, he'd have, a place to stay.
Yeah.
And, stuff, stocked into some type of, he'd be able to take care of himself. And I think that type of behavior, that type of skills is important. I like to. There's a series of books that I have that I've read for years that
if you
cover
look
those
behind
exact
you on my
topics.
bookshelf, an entire row down there is survival stuff. So,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but so you actually still learn a fair amount of new, interesting stuff on this show that I really like. And there is no camera crew; you have to film yourself, just to add to the whole alone thing. And some people last like 60, 70 days, and some people last a day. And it's not because they're like, man, this is hard. It's because they get attacked by bears and wolves and cougars and stuff.
Oh my!
Yeah.
The series of books that I actually used to have, and I don't have them anymore. They're called the Foxfire books.
The Foxfire, hog dressing, log cabin building, mountain crafts and foods, planting by the signs, snare lore, hunting tales, faith healing, moonshining. Is that the real moonshining I'm thinking of? Yeah.
Yeah.
And other affairs of plain living. Nice.
Yeah, basically, it's like how shit used to get done.
Elliot Wigington.
There's a whole bunch of them. Apparently, they went out and figured out how some of these things were done prior to modern technology and things of that nature, and this way those things live on, because otherwise it becomes dead technology or dead form, and you don't want to lose things like that because they could still be important.
Yeah. So another great thing about this show is you realize that human beings are a social species.
Yeah, we are.
You have to interact. Some of these people go crazy because of the isolation.
Yep. I worked as a security guard for 3 years inside of an underground location.
Yeah.
No one came in on my shift because it was 3 till 11, and eventually you just start talking to yourself.
Yeah.
Just because you need to hear somebody. And the internet, you can only do so much on the internet while you're at
When
work.
you say underground, do you mean the Springfield Underground?
Yeah, it was.
Springfield Underground, yeah.
I was down there.
The city under the city.
Yep, it was 3 years from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 11 o'clock every day, and it was hard because you'd get off shift and go home, and you wouldn't deal with anybody, and you'd sleep. Then you get up. By the time you're up again, it's time to go back to work, and so it's the same thing all the time. I mean, I'd see people on occasion, but
yeah.
For hours you'd just be alone, and
yeah,
it's difficult.
Well, that's where like the entire city's reserves are, right? So
there's like a million square feet worth of cold storage for like craft foods and a bunch of stuff down there. It's crazy what's all down there.
Yeah, I used to work right next to the main, like the semi entrance off of, is that Kearney?
They've got one on Lone Pine and one on Kearney. Yeah,
I used to work next to the one on Kearney. But actually, I live close to the one on Kearney. It's just right down the road.
Yep.
But yeah, man, it's such a good show because half of the people quit because they're like, I just need to see my family. I'm going crazy. I don't know what's going on back home and stuff.
Because that's what you do.
Yeah. Super good show. Some of the people are like, oh, there's no way you're going to last. And then they ended up being like the ones that make it all the way to the end and stuff.
So I was telling you about something that you told me to wait for.
Yes. You saw something online that piqued both of our interests.
Every now and then I get on Facebook. It's I don't really use it. Like I don't post and things of that nature like what most people do. But I'll definitely get on there and check things out on occasion. Yeah. And sometimes I see some really cool stuff. Like just a little bit ago, I saw this thing. It's by Shushizi. Yeah. Camp Chef Shushizi. Shushizi? Anyway, it's a sushi bazooka.
A sushi bazooka.
Yeah. Apparently, what you do is it's a tube and it splits itself in half, and you cram all your cooked rice in there.
Okay.
And then you stuff all the stuff in, like all your meats and vegetables and everything that you want in there, your cream cheese and the whole works. And then you clamp it back shut again, and then you got a rod that comes down the back end and goes and pops it out the other end in a nice tight packed roll.
Huh.
And then you just set it out on your seaweed paper and you roll it up, and then you cut it out and you got sushi.
I thought it meant like it was an actual bazooka.
You wish.
Have you seen there's a shrimp cannon? Have you seen those?
I have seen the shrimp cannons.
Where it shoots a shrimp through the air, like I don't know how many miles an hour, but like it shoots it through batter and then egg, and then it flame broils it, and then through pepper and then Cajun spices, all while it's flying like 50 miles through the air.
That's insane.
It's crazy, and it looks like it's done at the end.
Yeah,
totally. Not practical, but fun as hell to look at.
It wasn't a shrimp cannon, but a long time ago, whenever I was actually getting married to my ex-wife, long time ago, during our rehearsal dinner, We went to a restaurant here in town. The cook slapped down a shrimp on the grill.
Was it a hibachi grill?
It was one of the cook in front of you grills, yeah. And
hibachis.
He sets the shrimp down, he hits it and scoops it, and he's like tossing it to people, and people are like catch it in their mouth, right? And he finally gets around to her turn, and he throws this thing down, and he crushes the shrimp, and then he scoops it. Instead of like gently tossing it, he like whips it at her, and it hits the wall and explodes behind her.
Jesus,
it was hysterical. Absolutely.
Did he miss on purpose, I imagine?
I think so, but I appreciate the story a lot more now that I'm divorced.
Yeah.
You know? Does that make me a bad person, Andrew?
No.
Okay.
It makes you a human being.
Okay.
So that's really funny.
It was mildly entertaining, at least during the time that it was happening, and of course, we got a good laugh out of it and all that good stuff. But,
yeah.
You know, it's worthwhile.
Yeah. So some big news that we found right before we started recording this, they released the leaked, or I guess it was leaked, the photo of Kong from the new Kong Skull Island. Don't know if it was leaked or if it was like, hey, here you go. Here's what he's going to look like.
Like a deliberate leak?
A deliberate leak, yeah. He looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
I am so on board for Kong Skull Island. Not only for, because I think it's going to be a great movie, but that just means in 2 years, he's going to fight Godzilla.
Yep.
Because that's going to be a thing, they said.
Yep.
And I'm all for it.
You think they're going to be the same? You think it'll be under the same direction for the last Godzilla we saw? Or is this going to be a whole new Godzilla?
No, it's going to be the same 2014 Godzilla.
Yeah,
we saw. Same, that's him, yeah. So, yep.
I was about to say, there's no reason to throw that one out.
No, he was so cool.
That was great, is what it was.
I love that movie so much. Whenever I get my new TV next month, I'm going to watch that movie. It's going to be great. Which I think Jareth is going to buy this TV here.
Rock on. I have that same one in my bedroom.
Yeah, so I think you'll be getting this one in your living room, possibly.
Nice.
So,
unless he puts it in his room.
Yeah. But, yeah, I am so excited for Kong Skull Island. What is your most anticipated movie of 2017? Do you know?
Oh, man. I'm looking forward to a lot in 2017.
Yeah.
The first couple of months, like to the middle of the year, I'm already slammed out with movies that I can't wait for. I think that one of the ones that I'm really looking forward to is the new Pirates of the Caribbean. That one looks really good.
I should say The Dark Tower was pushed from February to summer.
Yeah.
So,
which
both of us, that is our favorite book series of all time.
Yep.
Actually, it's our favorite media of all time, more than any movie, book. Because both you and I, we've discussed this at length, and I think we're both kind of nervous about the movie.
I am. I really am. I've personally been of the opinion that they probably would have done better off with like a high budget TV series.
Yeah, like HBO or something.
Yep.
I think there's too much content to put in a movie.
Yep. They're going to cut out a lot. They're going to squish some things.
Well, Eddie and Suzanne aren't even in the movie, so.
Is it just the gunslinger?
It takes place after all the books, if that makes sense. If
it doesn't make sense.
Well, you know how the books end?
They
I'll say that I'm going to have to cut that out.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, because but you said something that I'm going to have to cut out.
All right, you cut it. My apologies.
But, yeah, so it takes place after all the books. I'll just say that.
That's just peculiar to me. It sounds strange to my ear.
And some people got a leaked version of the trailer that they're still working on, like it had green screen and stuff. They're saying it looks like a young adult movie, like a YA film. Like one of those Hunger Games, or it looks kind of like that. And I'm really pissed about this.
I'm not pleased with this at all.
No,
that just sounds... I've read all of them, and they were wonderful. I remember when I was first introduced to the Dark Tower series. This friend of mine, we were driving up to Kansas City. He was telling me about it. Just everything about it sounded just stunning. And so I took the time, I picked them up, I read them, and then I had to read all of the ones that connect to them. And the next thing I know, I own everything by Stephen King.
Yeah, that's how it works. Was that your first Stephen King book that you read?
No, the first Stephen King book that I read was Eyes of the Dragon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is totally not like any of his other books.
No.
But the bad guy in it's still an RF, so...
Yeah, still Randall Flagg.
Still an iteration of...
The Man in Black.
The Man in Black.
Yeah. Mine was Pet Sematary.
Was it?
Yeah. And then I think I read it right after that. Can't remember.
I just remember trying to muscle my way through Insomnia.
Yeah.
And the beginning of it is just so slow, it would cure insomnia.
Yeah.
But then, it picks up speed and then never stops.
That book is totally different from the movie.
Yes, it is.
Sort of like Running Man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Because did you know that was a Christopher Nolan movie?
Yep.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan directed that with Robin Williams and Al Pacino.
I remember that, and I was so hopeful, and it was...
I don't think it was a bad movie.
It wasn't. It's just not what it...
Because I haven't still read the book Insomnia. I just know it's totally different. So, from what you've told me.
Yeah, with the little bald doctors running around cutting balloon strings.
Yeah, so that's the thing that is.
And for those
not
of
in the
you,
movie.
for those of you who have read Insomnia, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who've only watched the movie, you're like, there were no little bald men and there were no balloon strings. I don't know what you're referring to.
Yep, totally different. Running Man is actually a better book than a movie because I didn't think the Schwarzenegger movie was all that great.
Yeah, no, not so much.
Some people love it. Some people love it.
That date and time is rapidly approaching because
Yeah,
that's
it
what
is.
everyone's doing right now. They're
The
watching all the old movies and they're like, oh, it's like, holy shit, we're getting really close to the date that actually happened in the movie.
Yeah, they did it already with Terminator Judgment Day and Back to the Future and there was another big one.
I don't recall.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so there's really big ones that are happening, and then people are like, oh, it's coming up. I think it was Escape from New York was the date.
Was it?
Yeah, I think that's what it was, because that one was like in the year 2000. New York is now a prison. Yeah.
Yep.
But
Snake Plissken.
Maybe Escape from or Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
All those Kurt Russell movies are going to come true.
I still love my connection theory that I put together for that.
That Snake Plissken is actually the guy from Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah,
the
it's like he progressively becomes Snake.
Yeah.
Like he starts off as Big Trouble in Little China, driving the Pork Chop Express, and the next thing you know, he's a hardened criminal that's going by the alias Snake Plissken. It totally doesn't jive with some of the details of the movie, but I still love the idea.
Yeah. And then after, he has this whole run-in with, the law, and then Escape from New York, and then Escape from LA. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So after that, then he's going to team up with James Spader, and they're going to go through a portal because James Spader has found out what the seventh symbol is.
Yep.
And then they go through the Stargate.
And then he's going to become friends with some other people, and then ultimately make his way around to become Star-Lord's dad.
Yeah, he's going to be Star-Lord's dad. So I read something, and I cannot believe that this had any, leverage moving from what it did. But people are saying that Sylvester Stallone is going to be in the movie. He is going to be in, the new Guardians of the Galaxy, I hear. But people kept saying that he's going to be Judge Dredd, and that they're going to tie Judge Dredd into the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
What?
People kept saying it, man.
He's supposed to be with the Nova Corp, and I can see how his armor's supposed to look like it.
Yeah, so...
I mean,
Sly Stallone, he's in it. Yeah.
The Nova Corp armor looks similar in fashion to Dredd armor.
To the Dredd armor. Just because they cut off the chin is all that's left, and I am the law.
That's the best.
Yeah, I am the law.
I actually liked the new iteration of Judge Dredd. I didn't find it as abrasive as everyone else did.
What was his name? He was in that movie.
Refused to take his helmet off because that was true to the comic books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name? It's going to drive me crazy now.
What the internet's for.
Yeah, but I hate having to look it up. Carl Urban.
There you go.
Yeah. I remember Lena Headey was in that movie. Somebody I know named Gavin Free, he did the slow-mo for that movie.
Yeah?
You ever watch slow-mo guys on YouTube?
No.
Oh, okay. They have that really fancy... We're going to have to show you a few of those. They're super cool. They have the most expensive slow-mo camera in the world, and they film throwing fire through the air or waxing a leg, and then you see all the hairs come out individually and stuff. And it's something that, oh, that's just, it happened. But once you see it in slow-mo, you really appreciate how crazy and beautiful stuff is. It's really cool.
Kind of like the drug in that movie.
Yeah, the slow-mo.
Yeah.
Or was it called slow-mo?
It's called slow-mo.
Yeah, so. And he's the slow-mo guy, so it makes sense.
Because he gives all the bad guys they're using the slow-mo to make you really appreciate when you're getting hit and dying and such. Because
I remember he threw Lena Headey out the window after he hit her with it, and she had to live being crushed on the ground super slow.
That still is weird to me because your perception of time is rapidly slowed, but your descent from the top of the building down isn't. So are you perceiving things?
No, I think they sped it up for us. They just wanted to get to the point where she's, getting crushed on the floor.
That makes sense.
So, because you don't want to have a 45-minute movie of her just falling slowly to the ground.
I could tolerate that.
It'd be a lot of bathroom breaks.
By the end of that film, I could tolerate that.
Yeah. Man, that is another underappreciated movie.
They came out with a couple of those where they were like trying to reboot some of the old stuff, like the RoboCop and things of that nature.
Sucked.
Yeah.
Jesus, that movie sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant.
But Dredd was awesome.
Yeah, Dredd was good. Dredd. I really liked it. I actually appreciated it more than the Sylvester Stallone version.
Yeah, it's not as comical or anything.
Yeah.
And Rob Schneider's not in it, so that automatically gets a bonus for me.
Right.
But they were actually thinking about turning Carl Urban's Dredd into a Netflix series.
That'd be cool.
And
I'd be down with that.
He said, like, there was a fan thing, like, they did one of you have Netflix, like, as you scroll through, it has, like, you can click on something and it gives you a quick detail. Somebody made a fake Dredd series poster, and Carl Urban said, I'd be totally down for this. So they're talking to possibly make that a thing.
That would be totally worth it.
Yeah, I'm so on board for that. Anything you want to talk about else?
There's just been a lot going on with us. I know that for Spoilercast and Agents of Sir, we started to bring it back, and we had the intention of bringing it back, and we can't get a good schedule down. Yeah. And every time we've tried to get it back up and running again, it's kind of hit a hiccup or two. So we've got one fresh episode up for it from way back when it was originally going, and then it tapered off again. And so I know that with our shows and things of that nature, I've been actually doing more of your shows than our shows recently. And I enjoy coming over here and helping out with some of these things. Some of the Let's Plays that we've been doing, some of the videos. But then there's other stuff that I know that we've been working on that we haven't been discussing. And there's
not
a lot
disclosed.
Right. There's a lot of strings that are out there that we're trying to do, and all of them are a lot of fun, and I really look forward to how everyone responds to them and reacts, because I'm having a blast doing it.
Oh, yeah. I think if we have fun, then that genuinely comes across, and then people in turn enjoy it as well. So
yeah. We need to figure out some more things like the Cinnamon Dragon that we did with Jareth.
Yeah.
Some of those things were entertaining. Being dumb comes with
being dumb's fun
at times.
Yeah,
at times. I know that we just did an episode for us where I was talking about one of my greatest fears, which is clowns.
Yeah,
and then you and I were at lunch the other day, and we had a brief thought of a thing to do:
renting out a theater,
and then filming my dumbass watching it, which is literally putting me on edge as I'm even
you
saying
can watch
it.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Don't they shoot clowns in the nose in that movie?
They shoot a lot of clowns in that.
Jareth actually asked me if during the Left 4 Dead 2 if I would be okay playing the Dark Carnival.
Oh.
I'm like, yes, asshole, I'll be fine. But I don't like it. I just don't like it. Just everything about it.
There's zombie clowns in that.
That's exactly what he was asking me.
Yeah.
Kind of like in Zombieland. I was watching it the other day, and I totally forgot they have a fucking zombie clown in that movie. I had to get up and go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing it. Nope. Yeah. Fuck everything about it.
All right. Well, I think it's time we're going to be wrapping up here today. Do you want to go ahead and quick plug, or not a quick plug? Take all the time you need. Plug Alltower Media and Spoilercast. And Spellbook even. Plug them as well.
So we got stuff. Spoilercast by Alltower Media. That is our primary show. It's what we pretty much focus on more than anything. It's the one that I put together, almost 2 years ago, and we've been slowly putting along with it. And as schedule allows, we get episodes up and things of that nature. And we try to do it once a week. We get so we do a recording, and the next week we actually release it. So it's every other week. I apologize. But then we're trying to get Agents of Sir to where we get basically at least a monthly release for it, where they talk about everything that's going on in TVs, movies, video games that are all superhero related, and that's going to be.
SIR stands for Secret Identities Revealed.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Secret Identities Revealed, and Josh My good buddy Josh, who lives up in Ohio, ran off and became a truck driver, but here recently got himself a new gig, and he might actually be back on for that.
Hey.
So that would be very beneficial.
He's no longer doing the Big Trouble in Little China thing.
Exactly, no longer.
No more ham radios.
Well, he's still towing the pork chop express, but just not in the same variety as he was.
Yeah.
But he was going to slaughterhouses, I did find out, so that's a thing. But we've got those. We've got our Facebook page. We've got an actual website, which is alltowerpodcast.com. We've got some shirts and things of that nature posted up there that if you guys are interested in getting, one of the ones that I really enjoy is the one that says "Show us your crits."
Show us your crits is a pretty great shirt.
Dire Monkey actually has one of those things. He wears them to conventions when he goes.
Nice.
Spellbook Studios has a new game coming out, or actually has a game that is out that's constantly being updated, which is Heroes of Dire. They've also got their original game, which is The Infinite Black. And The Infinite Black is a space exploration game, and you go out and battle aliens and things of that nature, and just wield your little tendrils out deeper into the darkness. And they got a lot of good games, a lot of good stuff. They're very customer driven. So whenever you've got ideas and opinions and things of that nature, and you post them up on their forums, they go through and they listen to those things. They read them every day. So that's something to be checking out. And lastly, and then I'm going to say I've got everything said, my good buddy D.A. Roberts, he actually has put out one of his newest books for the Ragnarok Rising series. If you haven't read those are pretty awesome. It's a series where it takes place in the greater Springfield Ozarks area versus your major city and or metropolis or whatever it is that you want to refer to it as, for zombies. Zombies actually take place, and as they're sweeping across the nation, they're here locally. And so there's a lot of places, such as the Springfield Underground, where you get to see how people locally would respond to the zombie apocalypse, and it goes on from there. Pretty awesome series, and he's getting ready to put out another book, which is corresponding to The Infinite Black. He's actually come up with the story arcs for the original, for the first series, and he's coming out with a second book for him as well.
Yeah, nice. I just checked. They also The Infinite Black is on iOS, so definitely check that out.
A lot of fun. Lot of fun.
All right. For us, head over to Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Patreon. Give us your likes, give us your love, and we will do our best to entertain you all throughout. If you wouldn't mind, hit the subscribe button down there if you're watching this on YouTube. We really appreciate every single person that watches the video. We'll catch you next week on the next podcast. Until next time, Godspeed to 100,000 subscribers. Bye.